Welcome back to Southwest Yard and Garden. I'm Curtis Smith. Patricia Aaron is with us again. Last week she taught us how to dry fruits from the garden. Today she's going to show us what to do with herbs and vegetables which are becoming ripe in our garden now. Patricia, what do we do?
Well, the first thing we're going to do is wash our hands. We want to be sure and do that 20-second hand wash, and I think you've already done yours. I saw you there really scrubbing up.
We've scrubbed good, nice and clean.
It's really important to always wash your hands before you start any kind of food preparation.
Like our mother taught us, even before we eat,
right. Mom was right. She said keep hot foods cold, or keep hot foods hot and cold foods cold, and she told you to wash your hands. Mom was always right, always.
And scrub behind the ears.
I want to show you some of the herbs that people have in their garden that they can dry and used during the winter. We recommend that they keep them about 12 months after drying. Herbs tend to lose their flavor as they are dried, so the best thing to do is leave them in a whole form. Like if you had oregano, you'd want to dehydrate a whole stem of oregano, and then when you use it, you'd pull it off. And you always add herbs when you're cooking toward the end of the cooking cycle, because those volatile oils then oxygenate up into the air. And although you can smell it, you won't be able to taste it. So
makes the kitchen smell good, but the flavor doesn't taste as the food doesn't taste all that flavor anymore.
They're very easy to dry. You want to wash them off, and you can put them on a cookie sheet, line it with paper towels, and put your herbs on there, whether it's basil, oregano, thyme, tarragon, parsley, and you can have a lot of herbs for a very small amount of money.
What I've done, I've cut stems of sage, tied string around it in a bundle, and just hung it up in the kitchen.
Oh, and that makes it smell real good.
Yes, and then when I need to cook with it, I just go break a few leaves off and crumble it into the food.
Yes, and you know, I've read that basil and sage are fly repellents to use in the kitchen, so that would be a very safe, natural insecticide to have the dried sage or the dried basil in the kitchen. Once they are dry, then you can package them into small jars like we've done this. This is the tarragon. You want to...
I like to smell it.
Yeah.
I like that licorice smell.
Now, wouldn't that make a nice gift? At Christmas, you could put these in a Christmas basket.
A little bow around it.
Put them get a basket and put Easter grass, and then put some herbs and things that you can, some home products. This is parsley.
A little less odor. Different.
Yeah. And of course, you can always put them in a bag. This is a combination of rosemary, oregano, and thyme, and they're still in the pretty large forms there.
Not parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme.
No. That's a very bad joke. You know that?
And this is sealed airtight inside this bag.
Although it is sealed, it is not airtight. There is an exchange with plastic, an air exchange. That's why you get frost on your foods in the freezer when you get freezer burn.
So it's not airtight, but it is sealed.
Right. So hope we encourage people to take the herbs out of their garden and dry them for winter use. It's a very easy thing to do, and as I say, a nice gift to give.
It's a little different flavor than fresh herbs, but useful, and you've got homemade herbs to use right through the winter then.
Right. Yeah, and if you're drying them outside, as we talked about last week, when you're drying fruits outside, you'll need to put them into the freezer for 3 days, 72 hours, and that'll prevent any insects from hatching out. Otherwise, you're going to have little pantry pests all in your foods, which you don't want.
Pantry pests.
Don't want that.
I'm a good enough pantry pest by myself. I see we've got some vegetables now.
Yes, the jalapeno peppers are coming off, and the yellow hots. Beside pickling them for preservation, what you can do is freeze them, and that's what I've done here to show you that what I do is put them individually on a baking sheet, and you can freeze them. You can see that these are solid, and then they go into a baggie, a freezer baggie.
While they're still frozen? While
they're still frozen. And you want to freeze them individually, because if you put them all together in a bag, they're going to stick. And that wouldn't be a very good thing to do. When you're preparing them to go on the cookie sheet, you want to remove this stem, and being very careful.
And the calyx came off on that. That part of the flower that remained behind, the little green part that's in the flower is called the calyx. And you didn't want that to happen, did you?
Oh, no, that's fine, as long as the flesh is not broken.
Okay, so I noticed on some of these, the calyx was behind.
Yes, it was a little bit drier.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you have peppers or fruits that have cuts or have been open to the air, that activates enzymes to cause deterioration. So you'll have an inferior product. So you want a pepper that is whole and the flesh has not been exposed to the air.
So if they're homegrown, pick them carefully. If you're buying them in the store, select carefully.
Right. And wash them well, and then put them on the sheet to freeze them. And then once they're frozen, they go right into the bag and back into the freezer.
I
And
can't
then
resist,
when you want
but these
one,
are hot chilies. I can see the frost on them, so they're chilly.
okay. They're individual, and when they thaw, they do collapse, but the flavor's still there. So they're suitable for soups, stews, salsas in the winter.
You won't eat them as a fresh pepper, but you will cook with them.
Right, they're for cooking.
And in the winter, we miss our hot chili peppers, so here's a way to have it.
Yeah, and you can do the same thing with tomatoes. If you're freezing tomatoes, you can put 9 into a freezer bag, and again, you want to have a tomato where the skin is not broken, no flesh has been exposed. They will get hard like baseballs, and then you can stack them up in packages.
Pre-freeze and pack.
And then when you're ready to use them, you put them into a bowl of warm water, and the skin slips right off, and you have tomatoes for cooking. If you're making salsas, spaghetti sauce, lasagna, whatever, enchilada sauce. But
that's an interesting way to deal with them.
yeah, I think that's a real good way.
And it's a way, very often we have too many tomatoes. We have lots and lots of tomatoes and wonder, well, who can I give them to until our neighbors don't want to talk to us anymore? So this is a way to preserve them, and we've got them right through the winter.
Right, and if you have the freezer space, it's an excellent way. If you don't have the freezer space, what you might want to do is can or dry them. And I'm going to show you how to do the sun-dried tomatoes.
Ah, that would be interesting.
Now, I like to use the Romas. They're a very meaty tomato. They have more solids and less water, so that's why they make a good dehydrated tomato. And as with the fruit that we talked about last week, you want to wash them really well and cut them. Do you remember what size of slices?
1/4 inch thickness.
Good. What we're going to do is slice these into 1/4 inch slices. And then I'm going to have you place them on the screen.
And these extra meaty ones are a little easier to slice then, too.
Yes, they are, and they don't dehydrate down to be so small. You know, people need to be really careful too about, some people like to put sun-dried tomatoes in oil, and we really do not recommend that because you can get botulism from the oil. If you're going to make a flavored oil, it needs to be refrigerated and then used within 5 to 7 days. Good. And if you wanted to get real fancy with those, you might sprinkle a little bit of your fresh basil and maybe kosher salt on them.
Pre-seasoned.
And those will take about 8 hours to dry. I brought an example of what they should not look like, that these are much too dry. If you remember with the fruit that it was very pliable but not sticky. Now these have been over dried, and see how you snap them in two?
Crackly.
And they just would not have the flavor. Have any ideas on how you'd use sun-dried tomatoes?
I think you would rehydrate them and use them as you'd use a cooked tomato.
You could do that, and they're wonderful to toss into soups and stews. Come all this cold weather in New Mexico in January, you have a big pot of soup, vegetable soup on the stove.
You could have real tomato soup.
You sure can. They have a wonderful flavor. It's almost a smoky flavor, a little bit different.
These are very dark. Will these turn as dark when they
No,
dry?
these were really overdone.
That's
and I did,
one of the signs then.
Right, and I did those just to show you what they should not look like. And again, they should be like the fruit, where they are leathery, 17% moisture, pliable but not sticky.
Okay. I look forward to these being done and tasting them to see how they have done, because it's a very interesting process. Patricia, thank you very much for helping us with this.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it,
And
Curtis.
again, if people wanted to know more, you've got publications, don't you?
We certainly do, and they can call any Cooperative Extension office in New Mexico and request Freezing Vegetables, it's Guide E320, or Freezing Fruit, Guide E321, and we'd be more than happy to send them to you. Also, we have the drying publication that we said last week that we would be happy to send to people.
Good. Thank you.